Let's add the fractions together, 2/3 plus 3/4, and simplify the result. We'd like to use the rules on the right. However, the rule on the right says that if we add two fractions with a common denominator, that we add the numerators and write that over the common denominator. Right now, both these fractions do not have the same bottom, same denominator. So we first need to convert each one of these fractions to an equivalent fraction with the same common denominator, and then add those fractions up using our rule. So the first big question we should ask ourselves is, what is the common denominator between 3 and 4? That is, what is the smallest number that both 3 and 4 divide into? Now that may be a too difficult question to ask. So we'll use a trick developed many years ago where we can find the common denominator by looking at the multiples of 3 and 4. So writing multiples here, we'll list the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 4. That means a multiple is starting off with that number, adding that same number again continuously. 3 and 3 add up to 6. Add another 3 and we get 9. Add another 3, we get 12. Then 15. Then 18, and so on. And the multiples of 4, we start off with 4 and add 4 to that to get 8, and add again to get 12, and 16, and 20, and so on. The smallest multiple that 3 and 4 have in common is 12. And our smallest multiple is the common denominator between 3 and 4. So our goal next is to write both of these fractions with a common denominator of 12, so we can use our rule. Well, the next stage of this is, what do we have to multiply 2 and 3 by to have a common denominator of 12? Certainly, if we multiply 3 by a 4, that would make 12. So we'll multiply the numerator also by 4. 4 times 2 becomes 8. 8/12 is equivalent to 2/3, but it'll have the common denominator of 12. Similarly, we need to change 3/4 to an equivalent fraction. So 4 multiplied by what would be 12? Well, we'll multiply that by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So we'll also multiply the numerator by 3 also, so that we have an equivalent fraction that would reduce to 3/4. We now have two fractions to add together with a common denominator. So our rule now stands that if we add two fractions with common denominators, add the tops and keep the bottom. That means that this will become 8 plus 9 over 12, which if we add up will become 17 over 12. Depending on the class you're taking, 17/12 an improper fraction is a good enough answer, especially for algebra. However, if we needed to write this as a mixed number, we realize that since the numerator is bigger than the denominator, 12 divides into 17 one whole time, and when we divide 12 into that, we'll have a remainder left over of 5 units. Well, that 5 units would become the numerator, 1 and 5/12. This is the mixed number answer to our question. So either 17/12 or 1 and 5/12 would be the final answer to this problem.